Boom!
Hello.
Hello, Ben.
What are we doing?
We're talking about Doctor Who again,
We
and that episode that I just named.
what? Boom.
Boom, that's what it was called. Yeah,
Yeah. What was the
yeah.
moral
That's
of
why
the
I did the
episode?
religion's stupid.
Don't go fucking running out the door into a strange place you don't know.
Not to the middle of a war zone, especially.
Yeah. Yes. What should we do our first prelim? What were your thoughts? Did you like it?
I thought this was a mediocre episode, personally.
Right. I thought it was good.
It's my second favorite of the three.
Right.
Let's go that far.
Your second favorite. So you still prefer
I
last
think
week's
I
then?
think I preferred. Yeah, I preferred the Devil's Cord more to this.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's hard to say. To be honest. I think I prefer the episode the Devil's Cord might have been to the episode
Oh
this
yeah,
might
it could
have
have.
been.
As we touched on last week, it could have been
Yes.
better than it was.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean I were some that faith thing was a bit a weird nasty hit from the Doctor. It seemed a bit too aggressive. Um,
Well, I feel like maybe you're feeling that because you're recently having a bit of a faith
well,
kick.
I've played around with it, haven't I?
Yeah.
Which yeah,
Whereas
fair enough.
I, as an individual
As a
who
heathen,
is somewhat faithless,
as a godless
um,
heathen.
I'm a firm believer that actually he had a very valid point throughout all of that.
Well,
So
I get what they were driving at. I mean, it does make
yeah, yeah,
sense that people who have that degree of faith would be more likely to believe that the enemy is all around, but you can't see it, but you know it's there, much like God.
mm,
Um, I did like the commentary on the military industrial complex. Well, that was good.
yeah.
Um,
It was
and just the idea that you're measuring who lives and who dies on financial expediency.
which is
Yeah.
fairly what happens anyway, right? The amount
Well,
of people who can't get certain treatments in this country on the NHS because they're
mm,
so fucking expensive.
mm,
And yet,
mm.
it's just a money thing, isn't it? How do you
Yeah.
price life?
Well, it made sense because that gun runner, that weapons business, that
Good and guard.
yeah, that I mean, from their perspective, it's a good selling point to clients who want nations or planets or cultures who want to save a bit of money, isn't it? We'll
Mm.
get rid of them for you. You don't have to think about it. But also, it makes sense from their perspective as well because the walking wounded, that's a really good advertisement for peace. So if you get rid of that, everything's sort of clean and easy.
Yeah.
But I did like how the hologram. Sort of getting ahead of myself a bit. There's not really much of a structure to these, is there? We just sort of dive in. But um, I liked how the Splice was it the little girl.
That was her name, yeah.
Yeah, she not at all perturbed when her father was killed and came back as a hologram. She was completely fine with it, which was
But I
nice.
mean, I wrote down the kid's a moron.
Well, it did lead to my. I mean, I from that comment, I gather this you wouldn't have liked this line, but it was my favourite line in the episode, and maybe one of my favourite lines in all of Doctor Who. To be honest, he's not dead. He's not gone. He's just dead, which I thought
I
was
mean,
rather
it's
nice way
true.
of looking at it. To be honest,
Yeah.
do you not think? I do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It is an interesting way of looking at it, but it does rely on you having that sort of faith, right?
I guess. I mean, in a sense, he is still there because they've got the AI, and that's something. She can sit and chat with him. From what the
Yeah.
other guy who was in love with what's her face, he that looked like they had a lot of customizable options on that. So there's probably a whole load of stuff he's put into that for his daughter.
Hmm.
Hours of fun.
I no, but I mean, she spent all this time. Clearly, she knows what's going on, right? Clearly, she understands that hologram thing means dead guy, right? And
Yeah,
yet she's like, "Where's my dad? Where's my dad?"
yeah. She was asking for his hologram.
Yeah, but I mean, just fucking
That
get us
was.
some fucking perspective.
I thought that was a good little bait and switch because I thought it was like, oh, we're gonna have to. Well, that's what it was set up as. We're gonna have to explain to her that he's dead. She's fine with that. She just wants to cut through the bullshit and have a chat with the hologram. You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um, yeah, I think I have to admit from what I saw of the promotional stuff, I assumed this would just be the Doctor and Ruby.
Hmm.
You know, he's standing on a mine. We've got to figure this out, which maybe would have been better. I say maybe, definitely would have been better.
I mean, why does he not have his psych?
That's what I was thinking.
Like the whole fucking episode would have been sorted in 5 minutes if he'd had his Sonic,
We need to establish
right?
why that is not an option.
Yeah, and I don't recall there being any particular moment in time where that
There
was
wasn't.
expressed.
I was looking out for it. You just have a moment where she's like, "Well, can't you just use the Sonic?" And he goes, "No, the interference it will set off the safe guarding principle and detonate."
It doesn't even have to make sense. Just have a fucking explanation.
Yes. Okay, I can. Yeah, you know, here's the rattle off techno bubble. Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah,
You know,
but no,
fine, explained. Cool. We're done. Move on. But
yeah.
yeah, I
But that seems to be part of the course at the moment, doesn't it? Is that we highlight one glaringly obvious problem with it with the
mm,
episode that would have. It doesn't even have to be a big change really,
yeah,
and it would improve it like better, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, these things. I mean, there's a lot of tweaks. You know, especially in the last one. A
Yeah.
lot of little things you could very easily just sort of tweak, and you know, you've not, as you say, you've made it slightly better. This is a tiny little
And these
thing.
add up, don't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just I'm surprised they're not seeing it. To be honest, it
It,
makes no. I don't because this isn't. You know, this is pretty obvious stuff. I don't understand.
yeah.
I don't get it.
I mean, it feels a bit slapdash to me at this point.
Yeah,
The fact that this keeps happening.
I yeah. I mean, people were saying Boom was going to be, you know, the best one. And, you know, do you want to talk a bit about Steven Moffat and his reputation for one-shot episodes, especially in the
I mean,
early
funnily
Rusty
enough,
Tales era?
I wrote down Moffat one shot with a hyphen so I could write down how I felt about it afterwards.
Mm.
Because I've said for years, I have said for so fucking long, Stephen Moffat is a fantastic one shot writer.
You and
He
everybody else.
struggles when he has a story arc.
Yeah.
That has always been my argument for him, and that's why the early Sherlock I think worked, and the later Sherlock when it was all sort of rather than it being a 3 episode thing, it became a 9 or 10 episode thing, and it sort of lost its way a bit because it was a continuation of the shoot that was already there.
I mean, he does
You
have
know,
yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I think everybody. I think that's generally the opinion I get. That
I think it's a
on his
fair
own, he's
opinion.
fine. Give him a longer series. It's a bit messy. He needs sort of restrictions and constraint. Um, but he did. I mean, I mean, I think it's safe to say we're a fan of the Empty Child and the Doctor Dances, and we're a fan of Blink, aren't we?
Yeah, it's my favorite episode.
It's what I Blink is fucking amazing. It scared the shit out of me, and it still does.
Yeah,
It's just a really, really, really good story.
this was not as good as I was hoping for from
No,
Moffat, knowing that it's the one that Russell hasn't written.
I
I was
thought
expecting it to have been
I
fantastic.
thought we were getting the scary one, to be honest. But it reminded me a bit of there's a Star Trek DS9 episode. It's called The Siege of I want to say AR-115 or something like that.
Hmm.
And it's got space mines in it too. It's during the Dominion War, and the gang go to a settlement, and one of the things is that they have these mines that sort of hide in space time, I guess.
Hmm.
I think it's like a pocket dimension thing, and they pop out. You can't see them, but if you walk into them, they pop out and explode. And
I vaguely recall
they
something.
randomly sort of shuffle around every 48 hours or whatever. That reminded me a bit of that, but I think yeah. I mean, I could see the twist coming a mile off, but that's fine. I'm fine with that. Um, yeah, I wish the war had been longer. You know, because it was
Rather
six
than six
months.
months.
It's like okay, fucking go. 60 years we've been here fighting this war,
Yeah,
and it's
like
just
give it a bit of
yes. I have a
meat
question.
to it.
Was it
Yeah, go ahead.
was the implication that this was like an accident, or was this like
I
an
think
intentional arms merchant ploy
I
thing?
think I think the fact that it's standard procedure that they all advertise their presence, which is how she worded it, right? That Monday
Yeah,
woman. She
Yeah.
described it as standard procedure.
Mm.
I think that it is a deliberate thing.
What do they?
What will happen is someone in the church is going to have shares in this fucking business, right? Because that's how these things always fucking work.
Yeah.
They're in it for the money. The Pope, no, not the Pope, because it's the Anglican Church, isn't it?
The
So
the Archbishop
the Archbishop,
of Space Canterbury,
it's just
Rowan Williams'
it's got
head in a
shares in.
jar. Yeah.
It's just absurd. But I mean, I can see it happening because no one would ever expect to find out about it, would they? Realistically, who's going to find out about it? The people who are presumably going to be impacted by the ambulance being as not an ambulance as it is, and at that point they're already dead, right? This would have gone on in perpetuity if it wasn't for the Doctor.
Yeah. All wars are
So
essentially pointless, although not
yeah.
really.
Just on the church thing, my immediate thought was the clerics. I don't know if you remember the clerics from
I remember watching that episode with Ian Glenn, The Time of the Angels or something like that. I can't remember.
something like that, yeah, because it was a two-parter, wasn't it, with Matt Smith? And I'm fairly sure they were the Catholic Church, right? There was some sort of papal reference somewhere in there. So what it turns out is that both of the major Christian faiths, because they are the two biggest Christian faiths, I would
Well,
say,
I
in this country at least.
well, yes, in this country.
Um, have become properly standing armies rather than because he had that line, didn't he, about how the church has always been an army, and that's I mean, yeah, I can believe that. I can get on board with that.
Yeah, I can see that developing. I guess, yeah.
Well, with the Crusades and everything, it makes sense. But the fact that both of those faiths now have standing armies is somewhat amusing to me. It's just a bit fucking hell, That was a good episode as well. I like it. Not necessarily it was a good episode, but I liked Ian Glenn as in the role that he was in.
If I remember correctly, one of the things I disliked about it at the time is that it expanded on the Weeping Angel powers and lore, which is one thing you don't need to do. Just leave well enough alone. Less is more. Let's never ever have them in an episode ever again. It was fine.
Yeah, I mean, it just didn't really work out.
Yeah.
In the way that it is. My issue was with it was that it we argued about this a lot back at the time, and I stand by it. Blink broke the fourth wall, and then those two brought it back, built it back up again unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And the thing that made Blink so scary was that we us seeing
relatable. If you're walking out in town at night and there's a statue, on a plinth and it's all quiet, you suddenly get a bit.
The fact that they didn't move when we could see them is what made it so scary, right? Yeah. We were a part of that story as much as everyone else in the story was, and then they took that away. But so we're digressing.
I was going to say, is it maybe a comment on this episode that we're talking about a much better one?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, go watch Blink. It's great.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a weird little thing when after Ruby was injured that we had a little conversation between the two religious Anglican soldiers about, do you like me? Tick 1 for yes, 2 for no. It seemed a bit squat. I was like, we maybe get through this. Steve,
it seems like an unnecessary.
Yes.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Okay, have a will they, won't they? But don't tell us the result, right? Just make it a part of their life.
You could just allude. You could allude to this. This is, they're both sort of into each other, and you can see this turning into a thing at some point. You don't need to come out and say it. We can read their emotions and tell by the acting that this is a loss, and that it was in the early stages, and that that probably would have been better than just coming out and saying it, and just at a weird time in the plot. Another thing.
Well, when else were they going to shoehorn it in, right?
I mean, another thing. I mean, I've got a couple more things I have issues with.
Yeah, I've got a few bits. But...
So when Ruby's probed up by the medical bot,
mm-hmm.
I Well, going into this episode, I was like, oh, okay, I know what's going to happen after the intro was introduced. The intro was introduced, you know what I mean? After the intro played
Yeah,
out,
after the
I
cold
yeah,
open.
the cold open. I thought, okay, she's going to get probed up, and it's going to tell us something weird about her. It's going to do
Hmm.
a scan thing, and it'll flag up something weird. Um, whether it'll be her age or whatever, or some sort of DNA issue that will push that little mystery along a little bit, but it didn't.
No, it didn't really do anything, did it? Although actually, I want to know when it's set.
Well, it's set. It said she was 2,800, 3,082, I think. So what? She's 19 canonically. So what's that? That's 67, 67, 63. 63? 63. 3,063 years in the future. So what's
Well,
that?
you say that, but what if it
5,000 and...
isn't?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, we didn't actually get told when
True,
it was.
but I don't think it played out that way. If you know what I mean. It wasn't. I see where you're aiming for, but it wasn't. It wasn't set out like that.
No,
Um,
I just it would make sense if that ended up being a clue as to something later on,
yeah,
right?
it would have been. It would have been cool because when it said her age, I was like, oh, this is a thing, and then I very quickly remembered. Oh,
Because
they're
my
probably in the
immediate thought
future.
was why does it have her information
Yes, I thought that was
about
weird,
when she was born, right?
but it's set in Earth's future, so presumably all the records just of all time. I mean, it's weird. You think for a company that was sort of trying to save costs, they wouldn't do that, or why would still have records from people? I don't know. It probably scans like everything. It's probably got birth records from like the 18th century on that
I mean, I
system.
suppose maybe if it does a brain scan and analyzes her as an individual and what she knows,
Maybe.
then maybe it would do something. But I don't know. Again, it's not explained, is it? It's just this is
No.
how old she is. This is her calendar age,
Yeah.
and it doesn't actually, you know.
Weird that it goes by calendar age rather than biological age. Because presumably they could tell
Well,
that. I mean, if I lied and said I was 42, and fixed my record somehow, Scam Me would say calendar age 42. When in actuality I'm 26. So it'd be pretty weird
no, you're not.
for it to shut up.
33.
Shut up. It'd be pretty weird for it for it to not pick up on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't. I don't know. Um, Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
How, in all the episodes that we've seen, has the Doctor never said the word smelted?
I don't know. I don't
Because
know.
that's
He doesn't go to
is
many
it.
foundries, I guess.
Well, I mean, but he'd have been to Middle Ages times with swords and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, just because you go there doesn't mean you're going to use the word, is it? Do you?
Well,
Or
I know, but I mean, it's
does it?
dramatically increases the odds of it, doesn't it? And
Well, yes, it would.
I suspect that there will be someone who will have gone through and will have found a time when he said the word smelted.
Oh, probably there's some fucking dork on it right now.
And if I could be asked, I would Google it, but I can't be asked to Google it
Hmm.
because no,
Wait,
they wouldn't have had a
wait,
chance to go.
wait a couple of weeks and then Google it.
Well, exactly,
That's what you
right?
got to
You
do.
know,
Um,
but I just
yeah.
it seemed odd to me. Such a weird thing to say when it's almost certainly not right.
Hmm.
You know.
Well, I think it was fine. It was just a
It's
throwaway
just-
line. I can't
Well,
remember the last
when
time.
you couple that with "I'm not even a doctor," when I'm pretty sure he said before, but he is a doctor.
I I don't know. I don't recall. But
I think he said it to uh, Jackie. I think.
no, but I mean, that doesn't mean he is a doctor.
Well, no, but I mean, you know,
Prove it, mate. Stitch this.
I don't know. It seems weird lines to be throwing out.
I did like seeing him scared.
Yeah, but that's twice now this season we've seen
Yeah,
that.
I thought it was a good performance, and I thought it was good for the character as well because it is a terrifying thought being stuck on a landmine. I can't do anything otherwise I'll die, and being left with that knowledge when you're standing there. Um, yeah, I like the Time Lord DNA stuff as well because that makes sense too. It would basically just rip the world apart.
Hmm.
Yeah, I buy it. Um, Um, sorry, you go on.
I thought the sky was quite pretty.
Yeah.
I made a point of getting a picture of it for the video itself because
Yeah.
I thought it was quite pretty.
Yeah. Um. Oh, I've got so many other points, but I don't write anything down. You see, so
Oh,
makes it
you
a
should probably start writing them down.
little bit annoying. Uh. Oh, it'll come to me. Um. Hang on. You. What was it? 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 Oh yeah. Um. How do you? Has this episode changed any way you feel about the Doctor and Ruby's relationship?
Actually, funnily enough, the last shot, or the last, what, not quite the last shot, but one of the last shots, and it's the last picture I got
Uh,
because I wanted to make this point. I didn't write it down, but I wanted to make this point, and the picture would prompt me. She seems sorry, he seems very much reliant on her at the moment.
yeah, I can
In
see
fact, he's
that.
lost his keys even,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, you may well be inclined to read further into that. I don't know whether you are or not, but it seems like a fun little throwaway gag to me.
It's, I don't know. It seems odd for him to not know where the keys are.
Mm.
Because it doesn't look like he's making a joke sort of situation. That doesn't look like the writer's making a joke style situation. That looks like he can't find his keys.
Been through a lot. Long day. Another line I
Yeah.
liked. Everywhere's a beach eventually.
Yes, I wrote that down.
Yes,
I,
that's two lines I really quite liked. And there's
what was the other one?
well, the other one was he's not dead. He's not gone. He's just dead.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Which yeah, again, one of I probably one of my favourite lines in all of Doctor Who. Um, yes, I mentioned the relationship because I feel like something is missing, and it may just be that they don't have a great deal of chemistry.
Okay.
I think they do. I don't think that's entirely true, but I do feel like there's something's missing. You know, it's not quite.
Yeah.
I'm not quite into it yet. I feel like
Well,
I don't know what it
if it
is, but
if it helps, they've already revealed that in season 2 there's going to be another companion
mm.
with them, and she was in this episode. I think it was Monday,
Oh, what, that character or the actress?
the actress.
Oh, okay,
Oh, well, it
okay.
might be the character as well, for all I know.
I don't know.
But I think it's Monday is going to be the.
Mm. I it may help, but I do feel like there's just not something something missing. I don't know what it
I
is.
think I think it's difficult to get the balance right when it comes to the Doctor and the companions because, like, it works in a one-on-one, it works in a one-on-two. I think it can work in a one-on-two. When they had Whittaker and the three companions, it was
mm,
a bit diluted,
mm, mm. I
and you know, but it can be a bit diluted if there's two. I think that's one of the things that worked well when it came to the Doctor, Amy, and Rory is that because Rory kept dying, um,
mm,
there was quite a bit of time where it went from being 1 to 2 to
uh,
1 to 2 to 1 to 2 quite a bit. So there was a bit of, and then of course you'd have the occasional one with River Song in there, and then there would be a
mm,
three. But it like there's that prior thing going on with the Doctor and River, wasn't there? So that's
mm,
sort of a different way of working at it. So I'm interested to see where they do go with it when it's the
mm.
two. And again, like I say, that might be the thing that's missing for you is there's a certain relationship chemistry there that isn't quite.
It could help, but I
But
do
I
you.
don't know.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe do you not have that feeling that it's not quite there's something missing? Do you not sense that?
I've been feeling that about the entire series, Ben. So I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
think I'm the right
I
person to
mean,
ask.
I think we talked about this last time, and you said it was because she never got she never got angry with him, and there was a bit of that in this episode. There was a bit of an argument. He said that in
It wasn't
Space
really an
Babies.
argument, was it?
Yeah, she refused to
He was
follow
just
his
ignoring
orders,
what he was saying
which
because
is
it
fair
seemed
enough.
to
Because
her.
I don't know how well she throws. I would have been like, no, I'm handing this to you. If I throw this, it's gonna go over there. It's not gonna go anywhere near you. I'm
How
not.
disrespectful would it be to throw a dead guy?
I know.
You
I
know.
know. I mean, do they have to look quite so much like flashlights?
I mean, I didn't think that at all.
Did you
And
not?
I'm the pervert of the two of
All
us,
right.
so
I mean, you could have put a sleeve on it. You know,
Well,
just
that
like
might make it
a
worse.
little velvet sleeve to cover up his eye and his fucking gooey bits. You know,
The second guy had an ear. You could see.
yeah. I mean, it's probably cheaper not to, isn't it? When it all comes back
Uh,
to money, this is probably the most cost-effective way of
Yeah.
producing your loved one's remains.
What sort of residue does that leave on the surface if you put it down?
What do you mean?
Like the well, I mean, it can't be a cost thing because the AI thing wouldn't happen if it was a cost thing.
Well, maybe at that point AI is so advanced that even the
It's not
cheapest
that.
AI.
It's
What?
not that. It's the computer components involved in it are quite expensive. The materials are quite expensive to make.
Yeah, but
For nowadays, yeah, sure, fine.
yeah, as I
But
say, in the future, it may be the easiest thing possible. It may be as simple as cobbling together a very very basic TV. You know,
I'm not convinced.
and it's just like here you
I think
go. This
if there'd
very
be an
basic
opportunity to
AI.
cut the cost, they'd cut the cost.
Yeah, but see if you do that, it risks it make the loss feels greater, doesn't it? You know, if you're profiting from war and people are losing, family members, but then they get this AI thing that really does help soothe the loss because it's like they're still there. They're going to be
Okay, that
less
makes
inclined to
sense.
challenge the war than if they lose them entirely.
I'm so sorry. There appears to be motorbikes flying past.
Bloody boy
Um,
racers, bloody
Counterpoint.
hooligans. Yeah.
Counterpoint. Vroom vroom vroom. No,
Yeah.
counterpoint. If the loss feels great, you're more inclined to fight to win the war.
True.
You know, if someone kills someone with a gun, what's your immediate reaction? Buy a bigger gun.
Yeah, I mean that's. But you sort of, I mean, I guess the argument could be made you don't want it either way. That if they're more inclined to win the war, they're going to push harder. Whereas you can keep
What
them base.
they're gonna buy more gear
Well, they're always going
so
to
that you
buy
can
more gear, aren't they?
no, but if they'll buy bigger gear, better gear, more
Yeah.
expensive gear, and then you
I
just up the kill count.
there's probably a chart in some executive's office that says
The sweet spot. Yeah,
that says it.
where
Yes, it says it works better this way. That's what this is.
mm,
All these decisions are the result of some sort of presentation from the head of finance and the head of marketing. There's a pie chart behind it. All the worst things humanity has ever done. I guarantee it.
and whoever the British monarch is at the time.
Mm. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Um.
can't forget about the church.
Oh,
Susan Twist again.
yes. Yeah, that was her
Yes,
as the hospital lady, wasn't it? Looking
the
very much like
ambulance.
a
Yeah.
nurse. I did like the little catchphrase Stephen Moffat was just really trying to push in. Was it said just a little scratch, quick scratch? Was it?
Uh, sharp scratch.
Yes.
Sharp scratch.
That's what they
Something
say
like
in it. That's what they say when you get an injection.
that. Is it? I wouldn't know. I don't get injected very often.
They they say, oh, just a little, yeah, it's just like a sharp scratch. Yeah, and it was well delivered as well. She looks like an NHS nurse. She looks like the sort of person who would have given me my COVID vaccine.
Well,
So,
the thoughts and prayers thing as well, which is
yeah,
yeah,
I like that well
yeah.
enough.
I liked it enough to write it down. It was
Yeah,
yeah.
there's things I liked, but
No, and it
yeah,
had its moments. Like I say, I think it is my second favorite of the series thus far.
I
I
didn't
feel like
really. Oh, go
last
on.
episode I think was better than this one. Just
Mm,
plot wise, execution. I always say it had its flaws still, but I just think it was an overall better story than
mm.
this one. But I feel like this one is considerably better than Space Rivers.
Yes,
So
yes. There's a bit more to it. Not a massive amount to it. I didn't really like the way it ended. The war was stopped through the power of love, and that he just downloaded and hacked the system.
just some random guy
Yeah,
at the end of the day
I,
because he's a
I,
dad.
yeah, I didn't really like that. I thought it was a bit
I mean, as a
stupid.
dad, I didn't like that. Yeah.
I thought,
So
well, I thought, I hate to bring it back to Star Trek again. There's another episode of Star Trek. It's in TNG Series 1 where they find a planet. It's like the base of operations for an arms merchant, right? And they have all this
okay.
automated weaponry about, and the away team gets sort of stranded there while they're fighting all these, auto turrets and whatever, and there's a ship that's attacking the Enterprise, and they figure out the way around it is to buy the weapons. which is a kind of clever way around that, where they just say, yes, all right, we'd like to make an order and buy
Mm.
everything that's been shooting at us. And I sort of felt when I was watching this that the way it was going to end was the Doctor would be like, hey, you need to check my DNA because I'm going to blow up this planet, and then you'll lose market share or something, you know.
Yeah, I mean that would work as well, wouldn't it?
They'll be like, this is not economic, it is more
If it's
economically
if
viable to disable the mine and let these people go.
this war ends if his mind doesn't get disarmed.
Yes, yes, yeah. That would have been clever,
Yeah, well,
you
again,
know.
that's just another example of something that would have made sense.
Yeah, I
That would have been an improvement of. And I made a point of it last week when we were talking. We don't literally. It'd been 5 minutes between you finishing watching and us starting
we
recording,
don't put a lot of
right?
thought into these.
We don't have time to put a lot of thought into
It's
them.
our
I
initial
mean, it's set.
thoughts.
The fact it's like 3 hours before it gets uploaded is because of internet and editing time, right? It's
Yeah.
not because we sit on it and we think about it,
Mm,
you know. And I started watching it about 5 minutes early because I wanted to get the pictures sorted whilst you were still watching.
mm.
So you know,
I
so I've had 10 minutes, you had 5 minutes, and then that's
yeah.
it.
I well, I did have a thought this week that
Dangerous.
that I think I remembered the Red Letter Media review of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and one of the points they made is that Steven Spielberg has grown up. You know, he's just aged. He's got kids now. So whereas the original Indiana Jones film could be quite dark and brutal, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull doesn't. It's more CG heavy. And I wonder whether a similar thing sort of happens with Russell T Davis and now Steven Moffat, that they've grown up and developed as writers, maybe out of their prime, which is kind of a mean thing to say, but do you know what I mean?
No, I get you. It
You
makes
know,
sense. It's so possible.
you can't expect them to constantly be churning out the same sort of thing forever. They do change and develop, and
Hmm.
I don't know. Some people may think this stuff is better than the old Russell T Davis season. I don't know. I've not found anything that says that, but
I certainly don't think it. But again, as we talked about last week. I think part of my issue is that I have changed as a person as well.
I think yeah, I know there's definitely going to be people who are arguing that no, it was always this bad. It's not even
Yeah,
bad. It's just yeah, you
it's
know.
not as good.
No, it's not. I think another thing that occurred to me, I was thinking about the episode Boomtown, which is quite a
Okay,
coincidence given the
yeah,
names, and you may recall a scene in that where the Doctor takes Margaret Blaine, Slitheen lady, out for dinner,
yes.
and they discuss morality. And
Whilst trying to kill each other.
yes, and she's saying, "Well, I let that woman live," and the Doctor says, "Well, yeah, but that's how you live with yourself, isn't it? You let one of them live every now and then on a whim, and you can still tell yourself you're a good person." We haven't gotten that
Yeah,
in a while, have we? We haven't
that
gotten
sort of
uh,
no, no. It's
conversation,
not.
philosophical, moral. I was thinking about the Age of Steel and the Rise of the Cybermen, and how at the end of that, which is something a recurring thing in those Doctor episodes, which I love, is that the Doctor sort of has a bit of a moment with the villain. It's very basic in those episodes because it does just boil down to, as it always does with Cybermen, emotion. You need, emotions are valuable even if they hurt you, but it's still
Hmm.
nice to have, and we haven't
Well, you see,
really had
we
that.
have we have got that sort of philosophical viewpoint in this one. It's just aimed at the wrong person. It's aimed at the foot soldier rather than the corporation.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean,
When he has this whole talk about how there's no one out there. There is no Castarians in the mud in the fog, and he's having his anti-capitalist rant.
uh,
And it's a thing that it's the thing that you want, but like I say, it's aimed at the wrong. If it had been
uh,
aimed at a fucking one of a I don't know the CEO of a company, that's
mm,
exactly what you want, really, isn't it?
yeah.
But it's not. It's because it's aimed at the wrong
Well,
person.
not.
It doesn't quite hit them up.
I think the key thing about both of those examples I gave is that it's a conversation. There's somebody else
Well, yeah,
arguing the other point, and they're never going to be won over because they're the villain and they've chosen made the decisions they made based on their adherence to that,
But the foot
concept.
soldier wasn't.
But the fact is, there's a conversation.
Yeah.
There is a
We
debate. There is we see both sides, and even though the Doctor's going to come out on top,
we had
there's an interesting discussion there, and we haven't had that in a long while.
we had a Trump stand-in during Whitaker's era,
Yeah,
um, who there was some back and forth with, who was adamant that he was right at the end of the day. It was very much. Do you remember the voyage of the Damned? With there was only really two people who survived it, weren't there? Sorry, three people.
yeah.
Alonso, and then the tour
The
guide
old
bloke, and
guy,
then
and then the
the
businessman.
asshole.
I loved that episode because it's like the wrong person lived, and the Doctor would have quite happily exchanged it, and that was sort of a
It
weird,
was
complex thing that the old man picked up on. But yeah, go on.
these episodes with this Trump standing. So I think it's like two or three of them that he ends up being in. He is very much like the asshole in that,
Uh,
only an American as well. So
More of an arsehole.
yeah, exactly. Uh,
An arsehole with a gun.
yeah, I think he does in fact pull a gun at one point.
Of course he fucking does.
There's a point where he's siding with the Daleks. I think is how fucking stupid he is. But it's like Daleks grown in vats rather than Daleks in the cases.
Mm.
So yeah. Anyway, regardless, point is that we have had that sort of a character that has had that sort of wrath from the Doctor, who has gone on to carry on being who they are despite it. So
But
it has happened recently.
I know, but
It's just you won't have seen it.
I think you're sort
You
of
know.
missing my point, really. I like more of a conversation. You know, I like. Let's see if I can give another example off the top of my head. Uh, I can't. I mean, I could probably summon one up at some point, but I like things like that. A bit like I like talking moments. I like scenes where characters explain or have a discussion about something. One of my favourite moments is the bit in the Satan pit where the Doctor's figuring out the history of the beast and why they're there and how to figure. That's great. I love that. More of that. We haven't gotten any of that in this season.
Mm.
And you may disagree, but that would help a lot. We just haven't got it, and that's sort of sad to me. Uh,
Fair enough.
yeah,
Fish fingers and custard came up again.
yes, it did. Do they know what fish fingers are? Haven't we ran out of fish by now?
Well, God knows, to be honest with you. But I do feel like again that seems like an out of character sort of thing for him to say, because part of the whole thing is that the only thing that seems to be consistent with the Doctor's food preferences is pears, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
Because he doesn't like pears. It's a thing that's been consistent throughout so many different Doctors now. Like I think there's one recently where he has, or he might have been Whittaker, ate a pear, spat it out. Part of Capaldi's regeneration speech was never eat pears. Something about the info that the Doc was giving Martha when he was turned into a human briefly. Part of that, don't give him pears, don't let him eat pears. For the love of God, never let him eat pears. That's the only food thing that I'm fairly sure that I've
I
ever
don't know whether
seen that's
that's
consistent.
continued in the classic era or not.
Well,
Maybe.
no, but I
But yeah,
mean,
it'd be a nice
since
thing if it was like there was some sort of aminic acid or whatever in a pear that would really fuck up a Time Lord if they ate like more than half of it or something.
like dogs with chocolate.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah.
It's a good comparison, I think.
But like, it just seemed odd to me because the whole part of that whole him finding out about fish fingers and custard is that he doesn't know what food he likes because he's regenerated and it shifts everything up.
mm.
So it seems odd to me that he would necessarily still like fish fingers with custard.
I think that was Moffat just giving a
It's
tipping
Moffat
his
making a
cap
joke
to his
again, but
first episode as showrunner because apparently he's not he might not write anymore.
mm,
So
I just
yeah, I mean,
it stood out to me as something that seemed a bit odd for that particular. No, you know what it is. I know exactly what it is. It's for the new fans who are like, fish fingers with custard. What's the story behind that?
no,
And then
I don't
boom.
I don't necessarily I don't think it's that. I think it's for us to go. Oh, call back. That's what it is. There'd be thousands of nerds all around the country, literally
Doing really
thousands, going, "Hey, he said the I recognise that."
yeah, I don't know. I just
But it
it seemed
wasn't.
like, again, maybe it's because I've matured a bit, right? And
Yeah.
it's a childish thing for him to do, right?
Mm.
Really, at the end of the day, that's what it is. A callback is a sort of childish thing to do, and maybe I'm just not got the patience for it
Maybe.
anymore.
I well, I yeah. Well, well. Have you got anything else to say?
I've got one
Okay, go
more.
on. Go on.
Sorry, two more.
Oh, good.
Um,
Go on.
did you notice the time skip?
No.
The last episode, he asked her, when is it for you? June 2024.
Mm.
And this episode, he was writing his diary, and it was October 5th.
Wait, was he writing his diary?
No, he was talking about writing his diary. And could you even write a diary like this? So I'd have to do it with drums. Could you write a diary with drums? Well, I probably. I did a whole badum tush tush badum thing, didn't he?
Yeah.
But he specifically said October 5th. Blah 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 blah.
Oh, right.
He specified the date, which means that unless it's just a throwaway date, right? We have to assume that it's probably. Oh, I'm assuming it's probably in relation to him and Ruby,
Mm.
right? Because he was
Yeah.
talking to Ruby about it, so it's a date that means something to her. It's probably
Yeah.
roughly when that journey starts for them, which
Yeah.
means that we've skipped another 4 months.
I can see that. I can see
Which
that.
means Big Finish are going to have a lot of time.
Well, that's sort of why I was thinking. That's why you do it. Here's all this time you can put adventures in there.
Yeah.
Um,
So I don't know.
yeah.
Have you got anything else before I do my last point, or
Um, Not really. Go on.
it's about the next episode?
Well, actually, I was going to talk about the next episode. So yeah, go on.
Anyway, it looks like it's going to be one of those Doctor Light ones.
It looked like it was going to be a scary one.
Well, I don't know.
It's got
I
Sean
was getting.
Phillips in it.
It's
Fucking
got
love
who?
me some Sean Phillips. Sean Phillips. She was in I Claudius. That is the
Oh,
right
okay.
person, isn't it? I'm not thinking of the news presenter.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
Sean Phillips. She was in I Claudius, and she was married to Peter O'Toole.
Well,
She was in one of my favourite episodes of Midsummer Murders.
I recognise her. Yeah,
So
she's 91 years old.
she's
Fucking
yeah.
hell! And you know what? It was her birthday 4 days ago.
Well, happy birthday, Sean Phillips. She'll be
Yeah, good
tickled
luck.
pink when she sees this. Um,
Yeah, she absolutely will. When this is the one that goes viral on the
yes.
hate,
Yeah,
we get cancelled for not like necessarily having the strongest of opinions about a TV
yes,
episode.
I sort of like. It looked creepy. It looked like it could potentially be creepy. I have a feeling that is this one got like a witchcraft element to it.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I was
For
getting
some,
an American Werewolf in London vibe, but like the very
yeah,
start of it,
yes, where
but
she
I
walks
haven't
into the
seen
pub.
all of it. To
I
yeah,
yeah, I sort of wondered. Do you know what the pub's called in that film?
the Slaughtered Lamb or
The
something, isn't it?
Slaughtered Lamb. Yes, great name. Yes. So I think it could potentially be scary. It reminded me of folk horror a bit, just from the vibes I was getting from that potentially. Um, like we might get a fun bit of that, but maybe not. I don't know. I am prepared to be underwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going into these not expecting an awful more,
Yeah, I
to be
think
honest with you,
I
which
think
is sad, but I think it's the best way for me to approach it now.
I feel like I'm saying time of death. I'm getting ready to call it. To be honest,
For sure.
I'm still gonna watch them, but I'm like, okay, yeah, fair enough. I firmly know that this is not gonna be anything like what it was, and that's okay. That's fine. It's a bit disappointing, but I went into it knowing that was a strong possibility. Um,
We know that there's a season 2,
yeah, yeah. So
so that's a thing at
who
least.
knows?
But beyond that, I'm not convinced.
I mean, it's got Disney money
At the
behind
moment.
it now, and it's going well. It'll be fine. Doctor Who will be fine. It will trundle along for a good bit more. Disney have saved it.
Well, there was talk. We talked about it earlier this week actually,
Mm.
about how BBC viewing stats were saying that it was the worst viewed episode or whatever.
Mm.
But it's important to note that those stats don't include iPlayer or Disney Plus.
Well, there you
They're
go.
just on the moment viewing figures. So they're going to be worse because if they're putting it out 18 hours early on another streaming chat on 2 streaming platforms, you're
Mm.
not going to get people watching it overnight when it's on the
Mm.
actual fucking time, are you?
No,
I didn't watch it
cool.
on the actual time. My views don't count towards that.
No.
You
No.
know,
The Mine. I don't think they did because I watched it on iPlayer. I watched it live on iPlayer.
I
Did
don't
they?
know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a bit of a
I'm not
shitty
sure.
argument to push, really, isn't it? It's just a clickbait thing saying Doctor Who's views are at record low. It's like, well, okay, statistics are like that. Statistics have
Yeah.
no morality or motive; they just are, and you can present them in whatever way you like.
So it only really means anything if you count literally every view that has watched it. You have to count the
Mm.
um. I can't even fucking speak now. You have to count the Disney Plus. You have to count
Yeah.
the iPlayer. You have to count the live viewing. You have to count the people who watch it for like the week after
Mm.
because they were busy when it was on and they've not had
Mm.
a chance to.
Or
Right?
binge watch
You
the
know.
series when it's done. I'm sure there's some people who are
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah. Probably will be.
I'm
Well,
assuming.
I wouldn't if I were them.
I'm assuming if it's on Disney Plus, that means people in America watch it at the same time, right? Thereabouts.
I think they get it before us.
Oh well, there you go. Americans fucking love Doctor Who because it's British. Doctor Who is going to be fine. It will be fine. I think we were so het up with the idea that Russell T Davies was saving Doctor Who, we sort of forgot the massive, overwhelming conglomerate of financial power that is Disney. The empire
I
of the mouse. It'll
I
be
can't.
fine. It might not
I
be
didn't want
good,
to
but
mention
it'll be
it.
fine.
I didn't want to mention it, but I'm going to now.
Oh god. Oh
The
god.
there was a bit more politics in this one again,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I
so
I'm
that
just wondering which bit you're focusing on. Go on.
well, the and I want to call it anti-capitalist, but it's not really anti-capitalist, but it's presented as anti-capitalist because it's really pro-life, right? It's anti-war, pro-life sort of argument. It's
Well, it's
the easiest
anti-capitalist.
way of summing it up,
It's
but
I know what you mean. It is
it
anti-capitalist.
doesn't necessarily mean that capitalism is bad. It means that that brand of capitalism is bad.
No, it
The
means that
way it was executed is the issue.
capitalism is bad.
Well, I mean, I think capitalism is bad,
Well, I
and you
think
think capitalism is bad.
it's a direct result of that system
And he
of
did mention capitalism as being why it's got the fucking lights on.
well, yeah, well, yes, I like that too. I did like that was I liked that. That was clever. It's like yes, these are items that are sold.
Hmm.
I mean, how many times have we seen items that don't have elements to them that have no real functional purpose, but are just there to make it look appealing?
Yeah.
You know,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's like electric cars. They make a noise
mm,
deliberately because people don't trust that it
yes,
doesn't make a noise.
it's like
It's like
casinos.
it's the whole the cake mixes that you can buy and how you need to add an egg and that's it, just add an
Hmm.
egg and water. Well, they took out the egg that they used to have in there because people didn't trust that you could make a cake if you didn't have an egg.
Huh.
They used to have powdered egg in.
Huh. I I
It's
I
like
mean,
fucking,
they're like
shit like that.
it's like how casinos will play the win music. The machines will play that. So when you walk into a casino, you hear people winning. So I assume you have a chance, and they don't have windows,
Hmm.
and there's no clocks either. And
Yeah,
like the
it's all about
light is at a
presentation.
certain level, so it always feels like it's sort of early afternoon, I think, or something like that.
Even if it's 2 in the morning and
Yeah,
you've
but it's
lost all
two in
your
the
money.
morning, and they're designed in a certain way. So yes, capitalism is
Yeah,
nefarious. Um,
yeah.
but
I
I
mean,
can
there is an ethical way to be a capitalist, I'm
no,
sure,
there's
but
not.
I've yet to see it.
I can see people getting pissy with it and saying it's gone woke. But it was, I mean, as I said before, and I'll say it
it
again, Doctor Who was always pretty fucking woke. It's
I want to
fine.
see an episode where it hasn't got an obvious political message.
Well, yeah, look, I'm fine with it. I think my threshold for this is far fucking higher than yours. I'm completely fine with it. It's water off a duck's back. I mean, largely because I agree with most of it. I mean, that faith thing that bothered me a little bit. I'll be honest,
It bothered me that it was in it, but I agreed with it.
and maybe I'm just a massive hypocrite. I probably am.
Yeah, I mean, if it, you're fine with the bits that you agree with. You
Yeah,
take issue with the bits that you
yeah,
know.
that
But
sums it up. I mean, I did think that was a bit mean spirited. Uh, I'm not expecting Doctor Who to be, religious, but he could at least be. I don't even expect him to believe. But yeah, I think his argument was out that it was like blind faith. I mean, it's like the sort of people who don't believe in evolution.
hmm,
Like that's stupidity. I mean, even if my little weird journey into faith goes, if we go the whole way, if I, put out, get to third base with God, You know, I'm never going to not believe in evolution because that's just obvious. That's facts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scientific fact, as evidenced by bones and shit.
Mm. Yes. Yes. Darwin's.
I'm not a
That
scientist.
was chapter 1 in The Origin of Species. You know, chapter 1,
Bones and shit.
bones and shit.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you just got to sum it up. Then that's exactly what I did. So
But yes, I'd say I'm looking forward to seeing the next episode. I don't think I think it's very very unlikely that there's gonna be an episode in here where I'm like, wow, okay, this is fucking gold. This is top tier Doctor Who.
I am hoping that the Susan Twist payoff is worth it.
I
I'm hoping that's it. That's it. That's the only thing I have any sort of
well,
real hope for at this point is that is a worthwhile twist.
I mean,
As it were.
we talked about this in the gaming videos we did this week, but I heard that the twist is that Susan is Susan Twist, and that she's been following them around, and she's pissed off for being left on that planet. And you never went back for her, the fucking prick. That was pretty shitty that you just abandoned Susan. Hope she teams up with Adric and kicks his ass. Do you know what
Oh my
happens
god,
to?
Adric, you survived crashing into the Earth and killing all the dinosaurs.
Do you know what happens to Adric in the Big Finish novels? I only know about this very, very broadly. Turns
No,
out
I don't.
he did survive,
Oh,
and he became a sort of Mayan emperor
what the
figure.
fuck?
I think. Let me look into this because I vaguely remember he's like a villain in one of the books.
That's ridiculous.
Hang on, I need to.
Because the whole point, I'm sure, was that the spaceship that he was in killed all the dinosaurs, didn't it?
Yeah,
Which means that there wouldn't have been people around to fucking be an emperor of. Maybe for Silurian group, that would make sense. I could at least understand that. Wouldn't like it, but I'd get behind it.
Okay. Uh. Okay, I think this is it. This is the boy that time. Yes, the boy that time forgot. Um. Okay. Okay. So, according to this, in the 19th century, the Fifth Doctor attempted to use block transfer computation to redirect his TARDIS to him. He subconsciously appeared to Adric on the freighter as a ghost just before he died, and fed him numbers for entry into the computer, creating a bubble universe in which Adric survived the freighter's descent to Earth. Adric tamed the
Okay.
giant scorpions on prehistoric Earth, and built and ruled a city of excellence using block transfer. He extended his own life and lived for 500 years, hoping to get revenge on the Doctor for not saving him, as well as to take Nyssa as his wife. Bit weird. When the Doctor and Nyssa finally arrived, the Scorpions turned against Adric to prevent him from leaving and thus destroying the bubble universe. Adric learned his
What a
lesson,
ridiculous fucking thing.
and after helping Thomas Brewster pilot the TARDIS back to the Doctor and Nyssa, finally died.
Oh, that's what I think of all that. Ugh.
So, yes. Yes. He was played by Andrew Sachs.
Really?
Yes, and apparently he was listed in the credits as a Scorpion King, so people
Oh,
wouldn't guess the twist.
fair enough. Anyway, less about other Doctor Who.
Yes.
Less about potentially better Doctor Who. Although I'm not.
Yeah, I don't think. I'm resigned to it now. We're just gonna get through it. But I do think maybe it would be nice if once this season finishes, we go through the old Russell T Davies era, and instead, what do you
We
say, old pal?
I say ask me later,
Okay.
as I always do on these things.
Uh,
I do want to just entertain the possibility for a moment that there's nothing going on with Susan Twist, and that actually they just liked her and they cast her in
I
every
think
episode for
I
the shits and gigs
no, I don't think that's true.
to drive us fucking crazy. The twist at the end is that there's nothing to do with Susan Twist.
I don't think that.
She's just
No, Susan Twist is going to be a thing, and I think it's probably going to be Susan. I don't know how Mrs. Flood plays into it. I was sort of expecting to see her again at this point.
mm,
I don't know, but yeah, we're 3 or 4 episodes into this new series.
3 episodes in.
Well, including the Christmas one.
You don't
And
count the Christmas one.
we're 3 episodes into this new series, and yeah, underwhelmed and boom. I mean, what would you change anything about it? I would have. Well, I was sort of hoping that it would just be the Doctor and his companion, and here's the thing: we've got to figure this out. I don't think you need any of the human characters at all, really, apart from at the
Explain the
beginning.
Sonic.
Yeah, that would have been a plus.
Explain the absence of a Sonic, and then it doesn't have to be a good explanation. Just fucking mention it.
Yeah, I'm underwhelmed.
Do you think that's why he was searching his pockets? He hasn't got anything on it. He hasn't got the Sonic on it. He hasn't got the keys on it because he ran out in a hurry.
Well, why the fuck did he do that? That was stupid of him.
Well,
And I
it's
opened with
absolutely
that.
stupid of him, but at least fucking mention it when he's,
That was
you know,
really, really dumb. Really
Ruby, I need
dumb.
you to reach inside my jacket pocket very carefully and get my Sonic.
Yeah, I,
You know.
yes. I mean, final thoughts didn't really like this episode. I probably would place it more or less where you did. I don't think there's many big changes I'd make to it, which is not really a good thing because it means it has less potential. Maybe I think it could have been good. As I say, just a little bottle episode. But I think the Devil's Cord had things I really liked about it and thought were really
Yeah.
good, and this doesn't. So yeah, yeah. Shall we? Is that basically where you stand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This I think is the second best of the three, but I mean it's still early doors. When it comes to the total, when it comes to the 8, it could very well be much lower down the rankings than second.
We're almost halfway there.
We are almost halfway there.
We will have to see. Okay.
I don't have much hope.
No, I don't, but we'll keep on trucking.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time for the next episode, which is called.
Don't know.
Okay. Let's
Do
see
you not
if
have
I
this
can.
written?
I can find it.
Don't go on the moors.
Go on the old.
Oh, actually, this reminds me. Have you seen the clip that's circulating at the moment of the Doctor talking about where he thinks the TARDIS goes when it disappears? Does it end up on some beach somewhere, and on some cliff somewhere, and some people find it and they're trying to destroy it, but then they get wires and they build a city. Eventually, the city collapses and it's still standing there, and then it comes back. That whole thing. Do you remember that?
No. Well, yes.
There was a video where there was that. There was a video where there was that speech, and it was on the same cliff as we see it on in the trailer for this one. So that's just if it wasn't the same cliff, I wouldn't know. I recognise the cliff, which is a ridiculous thing because cliffs fucking cliffs, right?
So
but it's the same one. It's definitely the same one.
The next episode is called 73 Yards.
Okay.
I can't remember what the quote was for that.
No, me neither.
Hang on. What season is this? Season 15, I think, isn't it?
Something like that.
14. Bear with. Okay. No, that's not the right one. Okay, bear with.
By all means, viewer, if you're still here, which well done, yeah. But feel free to leave your comments for the episode below. Tell us if you think we're wrong. Validate us if you think we're right. It's entirely up to you either way. We will probably respond to comments either in video or.
We definitely will. I mean, tell us we're full of shit.
We might. I'm saying we might do it in a video. We might do it we will definitely reply. It's just where we do it might, change. But yeah, feel free to tell us what you think about us, about the videos, about the stories that about the Doctor Who episodes. Tell us what you had for lunch for a week here. Just talk to us, engage with us, like, share, subscribe,
smash that like button.
Insult the fuck out of us if you need to.
No, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. See, I was doing all that so you could find it and it wouldn't be dead air.
You again.
You want me to do it again? Well, viewer, if you've still made it to here, do you ever wake up tired in the morning? Here's a word from our sponsors. Oh, hang on,
Yeah,
that's
I have
Doctor
no idea. I
Strange.
can't find it. Fuck it. I don't know. But yeah, the next episode's 73 yards, and I did mention that Stephen Moffat said he wouldn't be writing any more Doctor Who episodes. He's written the Christmas one, which
Okay,
is called Joy to the World. So yeah,
of
73
course it is.
yards up next. So
Okay, well, yes.
yeah, um, we will see. Bye.
Bye. Let us know what you think. Bye.
They won't.
I know.